Because when you betray yourself, it's hard to forgive yourself. The signs are there. The clues are there. You ask God for a sign, he give it to you. You like, nope, I don't want that sign. Give me another sign. He give you another sign. You're like, nope, I can't really discern. I can't really tell, because you don't want to see the sign. You really don't want the truth. And as a result of overriding the truth, you end up in a situation where you're going to have to forgive yourself. And if you don't forgive yourself, then you're going to continue to self-deprecate. You're going to continue to live lower than who you were created to be. You're going to continue to settle for less than what you were created to have. And you're going to cause your life to stutter. As a result, you will be frustrated. Everyone, and welcome back to the Book of Brianna, a podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brianna Whiteside, and I'm so excited to welcome you back to another installment of the podcast series. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like this video, get it started in the algorithm, because we are talking about forgiveness. Yes, the entire month of August, we are talking about forgiveness, because forgiveness is generally a stronghold and it generally keeps you from actually enjoying your life. Unforgiveness can also cause some type of diseases in the body, put the body in dis-ease, and we don't want that. We want you to live an abundant life. We want you to live a life of freedom. And therefore, we have to talk about forgiveness. We can't talk about all the other stuff, money, cars, clothes, wealth, nothing. We can't talk about all those other things if we don't address the elephant in the room. And generally, the elephant in the room, the big elephant, the one we like to overlook, is forgiveness. Now, last week, we talked about forgiving God, right? And forgiving God for what we thought he would do, and forgiving God because, that is how we actually step into the next level that he has for us, unencumbered by certain emotional baggage and weights that may be holding us down to our current level. And I shared my experience with forgiving God and realizing that I had unforgiveness in my heart towards him. But today I want to talk about you. I want to talk about you, and I want to encourage you to forgive yourself. To forgive yourself. Now, I want you to take a deep breath there, because more times than not, we are our own worst critic. More times than not, we are so hard on ourselves, and we tend to give others grace, but then we don't give ourselves grace. And that could be for a number of reasons, right? You may feel like, oh, I knew better, or, I did not listen to what I told myself that I was going to do, or I didn't stick to my boundaries. Whatever the case may be, I want you to know that you can turn another leaf, and I want you to know that you have to forgive yourself. It is horrible to hold yourself prisoner to something, to a level, to an experience. That is the worst type of jail, when you enslave yourself, when you imprison yourself. That is the worst type of consequence. Christ has already forgiven you. You've asked for forgiveness. He has forgiven you, but have you asked yourself for forgiveness? Have you told yourself that, hey, I'm sorry, and I want you to forgive me? And if you haven't, I want to create a moment for you to go ahead and do that, because generally we try to keep moving forward and we are holding ourselves back because we have not forgiven ourselves for a mistake, right? And some things were mistakes and some things are decisions. I'm not letting you off the hook here, but I am saying that you need to forgive you. Recently, I was talking with a friend, and, we're having this girl talk, and, we're in the restaurant. We're in this Italian restaurant, as a matter of fact, and I'm eating some pizza. Y'all listen, I can't eat dairy like that, but one thing I'm going to do on the weekend is eat pizza and tacos. No matter what. I'm going to eat those two things no matter what. Even though I'm vegan during the week, on the weekends, I'm getting those two things, and I'm going to take my butt back to vegan land. But we're in this Italian restaurant, and we're talking about dating experiences. And I have high hopes for dating. Like, I am not the girl who thinks that, there's pee in the water. I'm not the girl who thinks that the dating pool is trash. I don't. I think that there are some great people in the world, in the dating pool. I think there are some maybe unhealed people, or some people who are not as self-aware or ready, or maybe even suitable. But I'm not the person to just go out there and bash men and say men are trash, because I think that's problematic, right? Nonetheless, I'm sitting here, and she's telling me about her situation, and I'm talking about, things that I've learned as a result of dating over the years. And she said, Bree, everyone, you cut people off. you cut people off and, it's kind of like cutthroat. And I'm like, no, it's really not like that. Like, by the time I told the story, it's really black and white. I said, but I've learned a long time ago that if I've already seen the movie, I don't need to watch the previews. And here's what I mean. In my past, I have stayed in situations longer than I should have. I have begged people to stay and to like me. I've tried to convince people. And as a result, I had given up on myself. As a result, I had betrayed myself over and over again to have someone choose me. And that was on me. That was because I had low self-esteem. That's because I didn't know who I was. And that's because I was just really this broken woman, this broken girl. Really, the broken girl inside of me was the one making the decisions. But as I've journeyed through therapy and did my work, as I've journeyed through God and journeyed through healing and done all the ugly stuff that we don't like to do, I've learned that if you've seen the movie before, Brianna, when you see these previews come up, if they look like this movie you've already seen, you don't have to watch it again. And so I just stopped watching the movie. And so that may mean that, hey, I give someone, a certain time frame to, for us to get to know each other, and we figure it out. And, we try to decide if we're going to be a good match. And if we come to that moment where it doesn't look like we're going to be a good match, I am going to bid you farewell. Or they're going to bid me farewell. And we're going to have the adult conversation, and we're going to walk away amicably, right? Not he did me wrong, not she did me wrong. No, we're going to decide, hey, this is where the ride stops for us. And as a result of understanding that, I go about my way. There are no hard feelings. I'm not crying, spitting, and farting. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not down in the dumps because I date with healthy boundaries. Unfortunately, in the past, I didn't always do that. I used to give everything up front and hope that I would get something that I wanted in return. And that was bad behavior. That doesn't even make sense, right? I mean, everything, y'all. I was doing everything. And then when I learned to kind of lean into Holy Spirit, when I learned that, I am valuable, when I learned that what I have to offer is valuable, and that everyone does not get a chance to experience that, or does not even get a chance to experience my world, I stuck to those boundaries. Now, it did take me some time. I didn't just go in therapy and wake up like, oh, I got these healthy boundaries. And I'm not saying boundaries to keep people out. I'm saying boundaries to maintain healthy communication. And so it was over the years that I've been refining what that looks like for me. And I've been, delving into the hard work of what it means to date healthily, and, certain things that I probably should do or shouldn't do, say or not say, time spent or not spent. As I've refined those things, and it looks different with everyone I may come into contact with, but I've always been clear to default to what I know, to default to truth. And the only way you can really default to truth is if you know Holy Spirit, if you have a walk with Jesus. I'm not giving you dating advice. I'm not giving you relationship advice. Get your tailored relationship advice from God. Because what I've learned over time is that what some people may say should be standards, or should be things that are important in a relationship, they may not have been important to me based on my makeup, based on my socioeconomic background, based on my mobility, things of that nature. And so what is standard for someone else is not the standard for me. And so I'm saying that to say what the standard for my life is not the standard for your life, and it should not be that. This is where we get into trouble when we start to think about and talk about those dating advices that we receive from people. If he don't do this, then that. If she don't do that, this, then that. But that may not be the truth, right? Now, there is, I believe, a baseline truth for men and women just based off of our nature, our natural makeup. But everything else is shaped by our experiences, our traumas, our hurts, our upbringing. All of these things come into play when you're having this nuanced conversation about dating and relationships. And so I need us to understand that only God can give you a tailored dating plan for you. Yes, there may be basic things that transfer from one person's life to another, but your experiences in relationships should be tailored towards your purpose, should be tailored towards your destiny, because I know for a fact that throughout the years of experiencing heartbreak and things of that nature, when I didn't have healthy boundaries, it would take me off the game for like years, year and a half, 2 years. And it would take me down through there. As a result, I wasn't maximizing my time. As a result, I would, be up in that thing singing, "I'm Not Gonna Cry No More" by Mary J. Blige, right? I can't, just blinds closed, sunglasses on, I'm rocking. You know what I mean? And I would be in that state for a very, very, very long time because I didn't have healthy boundaries, because I did not know how to successfully date with purpose and intent. So as a result of not having those things, and as a result of, just exhibiting bad behavior, right? I would be out of the game for a long time. And when a few of those experiences, I had to make a promise to myself to not do this again. Do not do this again, Brianna. You don't keep going to the same movie and expecting a different result. Do not keep doing the same thing. Y'all know that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. It's not going to change. The result is going to be the result. Now, when I finally got that through my head, I had to say, okay, learn from those experiences. You don't have to go around this mountain again. And I have not gone around those mountains again. Now, that doesn't mean that I haven't been sad because I had to, stop talking to someone or stop investing certain energies into a situation. Yeah, my feelings will be hurt. And they'll be hurt for maybe a few weeks as opposed to months or years, because I care deeply about people that I engage with. But I'm saying that to say that I have not felt that I've betrayed myself in a very, very, very long time. And that is why I tell you to forgive yourself. And that is why I tell you to keep those promises to yourself. Because when you betray yourself, it's hard to forgive yourself. The signs are there. The clues are there. You ask God for a sign, He give it to you. Like, nope, I don't want that sign. Give me another sign. He give you another sign. You're like, nope, I can't really discern. I can't really tell, because you don't want to see the sign. You really don't want the truth. Right? You don't want the truth. And as a result of overriding the truth, you end up in a situation where you're going to have to forgive yourself. And if you don't forgive yourself, then you're going to continue to self-deprecate. You're going to continue to live lower than who you were created to be. You're going to continue to settle for less than what you were created to have. And you're going to cause your life to stutter. As a result, you will be frustrated. Right? And so you have to do the hard work of forgiving yourself, whether you operated in ignorance or you operated knowingly and just said, I'm going to do what I want to do. And we just going to ride this out. That's fine. You're going to have to pay that consequence, right? But after you pay that consequence, then you learn. You've learned from the lesson. You don't have to go through that lesson again. Why would you want to repeat another grade? You should be wanting to skip a grade. But for so many people, we hold that unforgiveness against ourselves. And we just need to realize that, one, you're human. Two, your heart is deceitfully wicked. That's what your Bible tells you. And so when people tell you to follow your heart, don't do that. Your heart can change. Your feelings are fickle, right? They change every day. It's like double dutch, jump in, jump out. I need you to understand that no matter why you made the decision you made, you have to learn to forgive yourself. You have to be okay with saying, I did that, take ownership of it. I knew better. I hoped that it would be different, but I did that. It was not different. And I learned from it, and I'm going to move on. This is my life. This is my experience. And just tell yourself, I forgive you. And move forward without condemnation, without self-criticism. Move forward in power. You cannot depend on yourself if you don't forgive yourself. I'm going to say it again. You cannot depend on yourself if you do not forgive yourself. You would not trust someone who you may deem is untrustworthy, is unforgivable, right? Now take that lens and turn it to yourself. Are you subconsciously telling yourself, hey, I'm untrustworthy here? Hey, I don't trust you, Brianna, or I don't trust you, whatever your name is, because you've made these decisions over and over again, and I have never forgiven you for it. As a matter of fact, I plan on making you pay for the rest of your life. That's a long sentence to do. Forever is a very long time. And I want you to step into freedom. I want you to forgive yourself, even if it's not in the terms of relationship, but it's in the terms of, missing opportunities that you should have taken, missing out on promotions that you should have went up for, not finishing school, not saying something that you should have said, not standing up for yourself, whatever the case may be. I want you to forgive yourself because you did the best you could with the information you had then. But now the wonderful thing about that is that you have more information. You know what it felt like when you didn't do what you were supposed to do. You know how you felt. And I'm sure you don't want to feel like that again. So as a result, let's just decide to do better. And doing better means that we have to forgive ourselves. We have to stop picking ourselves apart. We have to stop critiquing ourselves. It's just bad behavior and it's unhelpful. Who is that helping? Nobody. It's not helping anyone. So this week, I want you to sit down with God, and you may not even remember, like, am I unforgiving myself? Like, am I holding unforgiveness in my heart towards me? You may not remember that, but guess who does remember? Holy Spirit. And he will bring everything back to your remembrance if you have the courage to ask him and also accept what he is showing you. And I want you to take some time this week to sit down and ask that hard question. Do I have unforgiveness against myself in my heart? And 2, where did it come in? Where did the unforgiveness, the cancer of unforgiveness come in? Go back to that place, ask God for healing, and move on. You have to move on. And I don't care how many years you've wasted in unforgiveness. You don't have to waste any more of your time. That's what really trips people up. People don't want to move forward, or they may not want to step out in courage because they're like, I've invested so much time in this thing and I don't want to lose the time that I invested. Well, you have invested X amount of time in that thing, but you don't have to invest more time. You don't. If you invested 5 years, you don't have to invest 6. If you invested 6 months, you don't have to invest a year. That's time you cannot get back. But you mean to tell me that you're willing to use your future time as a down payment in something you know you shouldn't be in, and something you know the time is up on? You mean to tell me you're willing to take that type of risk? I'm not. I'm not willing to take that risk. And I hope you're not willing to take that risk either. We have to find it in ourselves, within ourselves, to forgive ourselves. And we talk about forgiving everybody else, but what about you? You are the person you wake up with. You are the person you live with. You are the person you. One of my literary favorites was Toni Morrison. And I forget the book, but she has this line in the book that says, you are your own best gift. You are your own best gift. And if you do not honor the gift of you, who will? You can't expect people to show up for you when you don't show up for yourself. You can't expect people to forgive you when you don't forgive yourself. You teach other people how to treat you by the way that you treat yourself. And it is time that we stop mistreating ourselves. It's time that we stop making ourselves pay for the mistakes that we made in the past. We have to stop this, because it's not that God is holding you back. It's you. You might be the drama. Am I the drama? Yeah. You are probably the drama because you have not forgiven yourself. And I don't know, maybe you feel like you're unforgivable. Maybe you feel like, what I did was just so bad that, I just don't think I deserve it. But who are you to make that claim about yourself? That's such a horrible thing to say and a horrible way to move with yourself, especially when you are all you got outside of Jesus, right? And I'm not saying you don't have community. I'm saying that this is your life. You have one body. You have one life to live. Why would you mistreat yourself in that way? And I should also say this, I'm also not talking to the people that just always like, oh, I know my worth, and have this chip on their shoulders, because some of that is prideful. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm not talking about y'all. I'm talking about the people who are struggling with self-esteem, the people who are struggling with identity, That's who I'm talking about. We have to do better. We have to do better. We have to forgive ourselves for what we did in the past. The good news is that you don't have to do it again in the future. God's mercies are new every day for you. And you have to practice mercy with yourself. You have to practice mercy with yourself. Become a product of mercy. Not only the mercy of God, but the mercy of you. And if you ever have a chance to get even with someone, I pray that you extend mercy, and that includes you. I hope this has encouraged you and given you something to think about. You can't move into the future and move into everything that God has for you if you don't forgive yourself, because you will always cap yourself at that level of disappointment, at that level of experience. But you can have the abundant life, but you have to forgive you for what you knew and what you didn't know, for what you did and what you didn't do. You are deserving of forgiveness. Christ died on the cross for you because he believed that you were worthy. Okay, so keep that in mind as you navigate this week. I will see you soon. If you have found encouragement in this video, please like it, share it with a friend, listen to it again. This month, we are promoting the Good Life bundle. And so if you're ready to step into the good life, go ahead and grab your bundle equipped with 2 ebooks, Good Cries and Loving Boldly, at BriannaWhiteside.com. And I will see you soon. I will see you next week in another installment of the Book of Brianna. Bye.